Welcome to King's Court YouTube. I'm Shrine King, and this is another review of World of Tanks, particular tanks. So this one today is the IS-3, which is a Tier 8 heavy Russian, uh, pretty BA tank overall. So for those that are new, what I do with my reviews is I don't go all the way into, like, let's say Quickie Baby's overall details where he's going to show every statistic value in comparison to other tanks. Instead, I'm going to give you the kind of the general rule of the tank, whether it's good or not, whether the line is good or not, what are the pros and cons of the tank, how to generally play the tank, and then I get kind of like into a guide showing examples of how that really plays out, and what you need to pay attention to best perform in the tank. So, without further ado, the IS-3. IS-3 is a unique heavy tank where the pros for this tank is that it actually has a really good gun once you get it. It has very nice armor, and very strange armor at that, as you actually point your armor at your target. So you actually, instead of trying to angle as you typically would with most heavies, you actually just literally face that target. Now, also it's fast, which is different. Most heavies don't get up to speed pretty quick, and this one actually gets up to about 40, which makes it kind of like a medium, or certain mediums I should say, that are about the same there. Now, what is interesting for the tank though is that it doesn't really have good eyes, and it obviously doesn't have good camo, and the accuracy obviously is not good because it's Russian, because most Russian guns aren't very accurate. Also means that the aim time is a little low. So those are kind of the cons to the tank. So overall, what you typically end up seeing is you get overconfident with this tank because it does have really good armor. Most people are used to the fact that if they see someone coming straight at them, that they're just going to start putting shots at it and normally can pen it. But with this tank, if you are looking right at them, most times they cannot penetrate your tank. So how to best play this tank? Well, actually, before I get into that, I should discuss the line. The line actually leads into two separate tanks. One of them is brand new, so I don't know it offhand, but I do know that it goes into a T10, which is supposed to be more like a medium-ish heavy tank with a really nice gun. It has the same gun as the IS-4. If you've watched my other if you watched my other video for the IS-4. But also, that line then goes into, like, I think it's the 257 or something like that, which what ends up happening there is it's a pretty well armored tank that's really fast, and then just has the, like, 490 average alpha damage gun. Then the other line is the IS-7, which that one is widely known amongst many, which is basically the fully upgraded version of this tank. It'll have the same principles where you're actually just facing your targets, and I believe it has a similar, if not better, gun where it might have slightly better penetration value on it, and the accuracy and stuff like that, that part I don't actually know yet. So, how to play this tank? Well, you'll see I'm not necessarily just going super confident and running out. You want to go to where typical heavies probably go, and you want to make sure, like, so in this case I was able to angle straight ahead where I knew someone would be able to shoot at me from there, so I already had my armor angled for that. I saw that shot that came at me, and that's actually why I kind of backed up a little bit. But originally, if you remember, I was actually aiming the other direction. So here I'm having it where my hull is actually pointing to the front, so that way if someone did come around that corner, I would block that. And at the meantime, my turret, which is really well armored and really well angled, as you can see, it's kind of got this really cool rounded sloping. Now, as I mentioned, with an IS-3, typically what ends up happening is people become pretty overconfident with it. Now, I am top tier, so I'm making this decision as a power play. And you'll see the gun reloads pretty quickly. It has really good damage, and then just as I mentioned, like, all I did is just point right at the target, and then I bounced it right away. And now here I'm just easily able to penetrate most targets that I'm fighting. Now, that said, the gun is 390 average alpha with 175 penetration, that means at tier 6, 7, and 8, you're going to do really well. What you will run into, though, is at tier 8, or I'm sorry, 9 and 10, it does become a little more complicated. You have to know weak points to a tank. So you'll see here, this got a little strange because, one, we're fighting this guy, but there's just shots coming from all over, and then I know that this VK actually has a really good gun because he's already put shots into me. So you'll see right there, I went right through his track. So again, this gun, it does really well for damage as long as you understand how to work against your enemy. So you'll see this part, he was not able to pen. So this is where I'm saying the armor is just incredible for this tank, especially at its tier. So being top tier, it is pretty crazy. So right there, the T-34 is definitely got a lot of penetration. So I was a little worried that he would be able to penetrate me. Now, if you're playing against this tank, the secret is this lower glacis is its weak spot. So if you aim at the lower glacis and you have decent armor penetration, you're going to be fine. Now you'll see here, I see that this guy's actually coming around. So I'm like, alright, well, hold on. And I got lucky. Someone else shot him, making it to where I can finish him up. Now, so that's the gist of how you can play this tank. Now bear in mind, like I said, I played a little aggressive because I was top tier. If you are not top tier, you want to play supportive. So pick out particular heavies that you know are good for the tier. Run with them, right? If they're going to push, help support their push. If they're going to kind of hold back, kind of stay back with them. And as always, I hope that this helped you, and I hope to catch you on the next one, and I hope this is definitely going to make you have better performance in your matches, although the IS-3 kind of gives it to you anyway, to be honest. It is a wonderful line to work down, so I would highly recommend, if you were interested in the line, go ahead and go for it. It's definitely worth it. Alright, thanks again, and yep, as I said, I always do, or I haven't said this, I always try posting on every Friday. I'm trying to get more into like doing Twitch streaming as well, so please let me know what you think, if there's particular takes that you'd like to see, and yeah, we'll go from there.